Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a few generalized steps for generating a search query. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually use an example to go through each of these steps and generate a search query and run an advanced search using PubMed. So these are some of the general steps that you should go through when you're doing any sort of literature review or literature searching. So the first step is to clearly define and know what information you're looking for. Okay, and this might be in the form of generating some questions or phrases. The second step is to break down your search question or phrases into keywords. You then want to identify the main source for quality data, so decide on which resource you will be using for doing your literature searching. And then decide if it is best to combine your keywords when running the search or to search for them separately. Okay. So we're going to do this by going through an example, and again I'm sticking with FoxP2, which we used in the last session. So these are the three main bits of information that we want to find literature on, or literature related to. So you're interested in studying genetic variation in FoxP2 and the impact of the genetic variation on speech development. Okay, that's number one. So we would like to review all studies that have linked mutations in FoxP2 to some sort of speech development disorder. And then we would like to find the original case study that suggested that FoxP2 is responsible for speech development in humans. Okay, so those are the three main bits of information that we want to look for literature about. So the second step involves us breaking down the search query. Okay, so for the first bit of information that we're looking for, so we were interested in studying genetic variation, okay, in a particular gene, which is FoxP2, and its impact on speech development. So the keywords that I've identified there are genetic variation, FoxP2, and speech development. Okay. So for the second bit of information we're looking for, we would like to review all the studies that have linked mutations in FoxP2 to a speech development disorder. So the keywords there, mutations, FoxP2, speech development disorder. And then for the final bit of information, we would like to find the original study by Lai et al. In 2001 that suggested that FoxP2 is responsible for speech development in humans. Okay, so again, FoxP2, speech development in humans. So what we've done now is we've identified some of our major keywords that we can use to find the information that we're looking for. Okay, so let's have a look at PubMed and how we can do this. So the first thing you need to do is go to the NCBI website and navigate to the PubMed homepage. Okay. And again, like all the other NCBI pages, it's very similar. In the top bar, you have a search query box, okay, where you can put in a search term. Okay. In the drop-down menu, you'll see that we are searching within PubMed. Okay. So if you start typing in FoxP2, what will happen is you will then get a list of suggested search terms. And again, these are search terms that are indexed based on how frequently people search for specific terms. Okay. So for example, we type in FoxP2, the first search term is FoxP2, the second one is FoxP2 and language, FoxP2 gene, FoxP2 cancer, etc. Okay. So what we're going to do to run the simplest search, we're going to search PubMed for any literature associated with the term, with FoxP2. Okay, we're not even saying it's a gene name, we're just saying with any literature associated with FoxP2. Okay, and this is the search results page that you get back. So let's unpack this a little bit. Okay. So first of all, there's a little summary box right at the top. So it tells us that it's going to help us try to narrow down our search. So this is going to try and say, okay, well, maybe we can help you to narrow down what you're looking for. So the first thing it says, see 122 articles about FoxP2 gene function. So if we were interested in gene function, we click on that, we can find some literature associated to that. It says you can also see FoxP2, forkhead box P2 in the gene database. So that's actually will take us to the page that we saw in the last session, giving us information about the actual FoxP2 gene. Okay. Then it's also saying, okay, are you interested in FoxP2 in a particular organism? Homo sapiens, mouse, rat, etc. And then it says, see also 22 tests for FoxP2. Okay, so that means that there is some information about testing for variation in FoxP2, the FoxP2 gene. Okay. The second bit of information, oops, sorry, wrong way. The second bit of information is we'll see that we are viewing 1 to 20 of 427 results. So these are the results down here. So each one of these entries is actually a link to a paper that somehow has FoxP2, has the term FoxP2 in it. Okay, we didn't say where, we didn't say what else it has to be related to, but if that article somewhere has FoxP2 in it, it's returning that result to us. Okay, so you see there's about 427 articles to go through. On the right-hand side, we'll have a list of related searches. So again, this is similar to what came up when we started typing FoxP2 in the search bar. So it gives you a list of suggested related searches that people have searched for before. And then finally, on the left-hand panel, what we'll see is this is actually a way in which we can further filter down our results. So we can filter down our results based on specific article types. We can filter our results down based on text availability, so whether it's only the abstract available, whether it's, I only want to see articles where I have access to free full text, etc. And we have some additional ways of which we can filter down our results that we got back, and I'll speak about this a bit later on. Okay. So this is our first hit here that says FoxP2 regulates identities and projection patterns of thalamic nuclei during development. Okay. And then finally, what I want to show you, so this is the most general search you can run using PubMed, using a single term. And now what we're going to have a look at is the advanced search page, okay, which allows us to then generate more complex search queries. Okay. So before I go on to that, I want to now look at some ways in which we can use specific keywords and then combine them together in order to run our searches. And we do this using something called Boolean operators. And some of you might be familiar with this and some of you not so familiar. So for example, if we had our single search term FoxP2, and like we identified when we were going through the steps, we identified some additional keywords that we would like to use together with FoxP2 in order to generate more specific search, to generate a more specific search query. So what we do is we start off with FoxP2, okay, and you'll see that we got 427 results, okay. What if we want to then now add another term together with FoxP2? For example, one of our keywords that we identified was speech. So if we want to search for any literature, journal papers that have both FoxP2 and speech somewhere in that journal article, we can use the Boolean operator AND, okay. And if I do run that search, I end up reducing my number of results to 225, okay, because now we are not only interested in articles that have FoxP2, but we only are interested in articles that have FoxP2 and speech, and the term speech. If I was looking for articles that included either FoxP2 or speech in it, and I ran that search term, as expected, we will get a much larger number of results back, because now we are retrieving back articles that have FoxP2 in it, and retrieving back articles that have speech in it. Okay, so they don't necessarily have to have it together; they just have to have either one of those search terms in the article. Okay, we can also use a Boolean term called not. Okay, so for example, if I was only looking for articles that had FoxP2 in it, but did not have the term speech in it, I could use the Boolean term not, and you'll see that my results will go down to 202 from 427. So that will return only articles that have the term FoxP2 in it and does not have the term speech in it. Okay. So there are some additional search operators that we can use when we're doing searching in PubMed. So the one is called truncation. So essentially, that is using the asterisk character or the star character. So an example would be if I have a keyword. In this example, I'm using the keyword child, and I want to search for articles that don't only include the word child, but include the word child and children, or child and anything after that in the same word. So it's basically like a while character that we're putting at the end of child. So what that would do is it will return articles that contain the word child, as well as articles that, for instance, contain the word children in it as well. Okay, so that is a way in which you can search for more than just using more than just a single term that we put in, and we want to extend it to include other terms as well using the while character. You can also use something called quotations. So if you want to search for a particular phrase, okay, and ensure that the words are not you are not searching for each word independently, you can enclose them in quotations, and then the search engine will know that it needs to search for that particular phrase. So it will search for articles with copy number variation in it, as opposed to just articles with copy number or variation in it independently. Okay. So in the next part, we'll be having a look at the advanced search query builder page and how we can use it.